Well, good morning. My name's Jack Warren, and I'm down here at Salt Fork for the camp out and a SOSBI meeting tonight. And a little during the day today, we're going to have Ohio Cryptid Research do a casting demonstration and teach people how to cast footprints.
See, if I put my hand down and press, bring my hand out, and I tell also people when you go to pour the track or hand track or anything like that, anything that's got a longer slope than the level of the foot track itself, always pour from back to forward to where it runs into the toes. Most people just pour it straight down on the track, and sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not so good. And that one thing about Hydrocal is it has a heat activation in it. It activates. When it activates, it gets the chemical reaction. It gets warm. You can feel it. When it whoop, so I had that closed off. Well, another bag went bad.
There you go.
That's just lovely. Dave, this goes on the TV blooper. Well, that ain't gonna close right. Well, just have to do it by hand up this way, huh? I wanted to close it to where I could cut that in. Just mix it around. And like with everything, you don't have a lot of time to mess with it. And
Now your consistency when you're doing it, you want to get a what, like a pancake batter?
it all depends on the pour.
Oh, right.
If like
if it's
say
on an incline or
yeah,
if it's flat, right?
like on this here, where you see the handprint, if you have a thicker pour, when you go to pour it, it's going to push some of this out of the way. You know what I mean? And plus, you got to give at least a 1/16 of an inch push when you're pouring a track, because when it hardens up, like say if you got dermal ridges on the sides of the foot or the hand, if the mix ain't right, it's gonna, when it goes to harden, it's gonna push all them dermal ridges flat, where it just looks like just smooth through there. So you want to try to get the dermal ridges if possible. But again, it's also on the mix. You know, if it's too wet, you know, you're gonna it'll absorb into the side, and then there goes the dermal ridges. And if it's too thick, there goes the 1/16 inch push. That just pushes it away. So the mix is crucial. I'm not saying everybody's going to get it perfectly right all the time. It's, you know what I mean? It's
right.
Always about
Do you ever,
trial and error.
Do you ever use a sifter and put a fine coating of powder down on your track before you pour the liquid?
No. If I have to do that, it would be only because of where I had
Like moisture in the mud or something to absorb it?
well, kind of. See, it's going to run in.
Right.
Let it run in. Some gloopy, some glop. See where it just run right in?
Yep. Sitting up on you.
Well, no, so I gotta get it mixed right there. Let's just squeeze out. Let's just go right around over the toe, right around the hand, where the fingers are. I always do it like this, pour it a little thicker there, because
You have to reinforce it.
like a little reinforcement there. Like I said, you don't have to be real perfect with the Hydrocal. And
So basically, cake decorators are really good at this.
yeah,
Oh, good.
good cake decorators. Don't forget about them. But like I said, there's and if you want, some people they want to you know, spread it all out, this, that, and the other. Don't ever do that. I tell people, try to get it when you pour as flat as you can. where it goes down, but sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, but just leave it the way it is, because as soon as you ultricate or move it, like Jello, again, it's going to take any dermal ridges or any lines or anything, it's gone. And like I said, after a few here, you'll see that it's going to, when it gets a nice cap on it, then you can actually go and put your hand on it, and you're going to feel the heat where it's combining the chemicals to harden. There's another way to get a track out too. If you're in an area, some people, believe it or not, they want to take the track home. Believe it or not. And they say, well, how can I take a track home if I see it? I go, well, the only way I know if you want to take a track out would be what I refer to as when I do in the pouring class is called wedging. Say you got your flat footprint here, and you want to take a footprint. Well, I tell them even after you pour it, and there's a possible root that might be under it. You do whatever. Always cut straight down, back away from it, like a square box. And then on the back side of that, you took a wedge in all the way around and pulled that section out. And I always leave this much out because that way you can put both palms of your hand and press outward away from the track, instead of when people try to pry upward on the track and bust them all the time. So that's what I call wedging. And another way, if you want to pour another track, carry a bag of silica sand with you, not just dirt sand, silica. Because if you run across a track and you're like, man, that's perfect, except for it's got a big crack going in it here and something over here, where you just pour some silica on your hand and blow it over into the cracks of that track, or just pour a little bit into the cracks and blow it out. And that way when you pour it, now you're going to have a nice smooth footprint there. It covers up all of that instead of hydrocal running in it. And now you got this big, like a little crack going through the foot tracks and stuff. That also helps too, carrying silica sand with you. But like I said, the best way I know when you're trying to pull something out of this or any place else is if there's anything in it, or roots, high roots. You've ran into that, haven't you? Pouring. Right. When you try to get the tracker, you're like, oh no, there's all them micro mini roots underneath the leaves. It's just trying to rip it out. But I say just burn it. Burn it right down to the ground. Those little mini torches,
that makes sense, yeah.
Those mini torches work wonders. Yeah. Just a couple seconds even, and just blow it out, and then right there. And then you can put your foot, always take pictures before what it looked like, and then take a picture after you burned it, then take a picture with your foot by it, and then get the tape measure out, measure, and I always tell people too, if possible, if it's deep enough, or get the depth, always get the depth of the footprint, because that's most crucial. Because when me and Kane Michaels, when I took my track over to do authentication to see if that 24-inch track matched his 24-inch track, well, it did under LiDAR. And like I said, when you measure it out, you can have that pour like this. You're like, well, I don't really see much in that. I don't see much definition. But you put it under a LiDAR, and it, like scissors, it cuts it all out and puts in between the toes, cuts that out, and now you got your perfect print there. You can actually, see it. And not only that, but you want to get that depth, because you got the measurement of the width of the toes, you got the width of the foot, you got the length of the foot. You need the depth of the foot, because that's going to determine the actual weight of that critter. When you do it on LiDAR, you can match it up for the poundage of him, because some feet prints don't match the weight of the height of the critter. They're all different. So that's as crucial. That's why you always get, all the measurements, especially the depth, because that's one of the biggest things they ask for. They go, well, what's the depth ratio of that? so we can determine by on a hydraulic machine pushing something down, you know, they can do the weight.
Wait, yep.
And but other than that, yeah.
Now, how would I mark that if I wanted to mark that it was my property?
Oh, like here, right when it sets up, when it's tacky, you can take a stick and you can just write your name in it or write the date. You know, I don't know if it's still tacky, no. Yeah.
How long does it take for that to actually set up and get hard?
Actually, it depends on the conditions as well. Spring, summer, winter, fall.
Say like right now.
Right now, it take to pull it out and to wash it off and everything about 30 minutes. And now if it's hotter out, you're talking about 15 minutes. Colder out for this right here, you'd wait, say it's 38 to 42 degrees outside. You're going to wait about an hour or two.
That's how you mark it.
Yeah, yeah. You wait an hour or two for cold conditions. When it's really cold, you're going to be there for a couple, 2-3 hours waiting for it to set up. Like I said, it's, there's a lot of ways and a lot of techniques that people do. And some people might say, you know, well, I don't do that. Well, that's okay. Maybe that works for you. But out of 53 years of trial and error, I've come to the conclusion there's only way to get the best track is, in a lot of cases, is wedging. After you pour, you can't really physically pull that track out. It's stuck. So wedging will get it out without having to pry upward on it. And then the silica, same thing with the cracks. Take some of that and just pour it down the cracks and blow it all out. It'll stay in the crack, you know, and you'll still get your fine definition. And then burning the track is the ultimate. If you want clear definition, if you can feel the toes under the foliage or under the grass, if you can feel the toes and the inseam of the foot or the outer seam rim to the heel, and you know you can feel depth there, burn it. I tell people, do not try to lift leaves and sticks out of a track. I mean, you can probably see a perfectly good footprint in the toes and everything, but you can get 100% better than that by burning it. And I've told people a lot of that, and they come back with quite good rapport on that. It was like, that was awesome. You know, I did what you said, Rich, and I said, I'm not the expert. This is just what I've done for 53 years, and
The trick of the trade.
yeah, kind of, and I'm just sharing what I know to the public, and just like all you are showing up, this is what I do.
If you cast
And
many casts, you'll
yeah.
learn what he's telling you is it spot on.
I don't,
Because I've casted a lot of casts. I never thought of that. And
No.
I've gotten roots still hanging out of my footprints that I've gotten.
yeah. And another thing too about Hydrocal or any other track that you're going to pour, cleaning is also very
Delicate procedure.
yeah, it's really delicate because Hydrocal is an artist sculpture. And what do they call it? What do they use? It like clay, almost. Hydrocal is for artists that do sculptures. But keep in mind, it might look nice and everything when you pour that track, but when you go to get the sand, you won't be able to get all the sand out. Okay, but like the best tracks are on near banks that have hard clay, or just mud, or just flat dirt. You know, those are the best ones you can get right there, hoping to get the dermal ridges, and like I said, that's what you want. You want to get all the, like I said, the best that you can get. And I tell people, just use you know, like it's like common sense sort of when you look at it. And like I've had somebody out in the field and I saw a nice footprint down there, but just below the leaf fodder, And when I told somebody, come, hey man, look at that. And they go, oh, that sticks in the way. And when they pulled it, it pulled the last 3 toes with it. And I go, well, it was perfect. It would have been, but that's why I tell people, don't, because you want to burn that out because you want to know what's under it. If there's rocks or anything else or roots going through and you pull it, it's going to take everything out. And you want to leave it alone as much as possible. And but like I said, there's just so many ways to do this. You have to pick which works for you. And like I said, the best thing, the most is about the mix. If it's too much this, too much that, you know, it's like baking cookies. You know, high temperature, you only have to be in there 5 minutes. You go back 10 minutes, it's burnt. You know, same thing.
Add something?
Huh?
That if you get a really thin print impression, the best thing to use when you're in the woods, take your belt off.
Oh yeah.
Make a form
Don't push
around
down
it.
onto it, Jack. Don't push down onto it. Yeah,
And
put it around it, yeah.
Put sticks there to hold it in place, and then pour it. Now it's thicker. You got something you could just probably lift right out. It all depends on the soil condition on how you can lift it right out.
Yeah.
What works
But
really nice is anybody familiar with in-ground or above-ground pools? You can buy a liner, and some got a bead on it, a beaded liner, and some got a flap where you lay it over the side of the pool. Well, on a beaded pool liner like I got, you remove 2 inches of rubber this thick, and on a 28 round, you can stretch that thing all the way over to that car from here. What I did is I cut 6-foot sections, and I gave them all away. I didn't even save me one, so I gotta use my belt. But those make the perfect borders to put around the track. And you got 6 foot of it.
Yeah.
So if you get Rich's 24-inch footprint, guess what? You can put a border all the way around it.
Yeah. And then the other way, for the on an advance, if you really gotta have that track and it's a good one, and it's on a hill, like a slant like that, how are you going to pour that? How are you going to pour a track that's sideways on a hill? That's good in definition. How are you going to pour it? I've had people ask me, so I got a perfect print here on the side of the hill. How am I going to get it out? How am I going to pour it? And I tell him again, it's all about the mix.
Consistency of it.
Well, you got to go to the store, so like Tractor Supply, or get one of the big plastic spray bottle, the big one, not the little tiny one. You get the big one, and again, how you mix your Hydrocal in it, it's got to be not too wet, not too thick, because it's going to jam up in the bottom and freeze, and you're stuck, you throw it away. But you got to get enough to where it's going like a mist out, just like you're airbrushing or spraying painting a car. And you just go up there and go, as after you burn it out, and just, you don't have to coat it all white. Just get it on there where you can just see a little tiny little white haze even. Let that set up for a second. Just let it for a second or so, or a minute, and then another layer. And wait a few minutes, or have something, keep blowing wind, and another one, and another one. And once you get a little cap, just enough cap on there, you'll be able to pull that piece out, and then get a pan like this. And what I do is, I'll take that track, and I'll set it down inside there, and I'll leave ports underneath it, around, and I'll take the Hydrocal and pour under the track as a base that pours itself right up to the bottom of that foot track. Now I can lift it up and say, there you are. Poured a track right off the side of a hill. It's completely sideways, just as perfect as it was. I poured it out of the ground. That simple.
Wow.
And that's what I tell people also. But everybody has their own way of doing things. And I'm not telling anybody, hey, this is the way you need to do it to get it right. This is the way you need. Trial and error. You'll see it works out in the field. It really works. And like I said, I'm not into this. I've never been into this for money. I've told them that from the beginning. I'm not here to be a celebrity or nothing. I'm here to teach my hobby that I've been doing for 53 years in 3 counties. Say, hey, look people, this is what I'm, and people forget this is a hobby. And I've tried to get groups together, which somehow or another they don't seem to want to do that. You got to break the rules a little bit if you want answers. If you want answers, get the other groups together. Like today, I'm with Ohio Cryptid Researchers, with Exposing the Strange, with SOSBI, where people say that shouldn't be allowed. Well, I say it should, because like me and Kane, we're totally 2 different people and totally 2 different researchers. And by getting with him and telling him to come off of something, and I gave up something, and we put our 2 maps together. I didn't know what was going on above the counties above me, and he didn't know what was going on down below the counties on where I'm at. But when we got together and put our maps together, wow, you can see the correlation of route travel there. Now, if people want the answers out there, well, why ain't there Bigfoot bones? Why ain't there a Bigfoot body? Well, why ain't there, I don't see a black bear carcass, or I see black bear bones. Well, but if you want quicker answers and more of this research to get out there, the groups need to get together somehow and share their stories and their research with one another. And you'll see correlations. If these people are there in that group and they're next to that county, they're like, hey, well, then that means they got to be going up through here. So you just add it together. But if you don't get together, how you expect to know anything? And people, the reason why they don't know anything is because all the groups have separated. And I've talked to Jody Cook for NADP, North American Dogman Project. And he said, that's a wonderful idea, Rich. And I was like, yeah, if we could just get other groups together and discuss. Because I know some people in this group, and I know some people in that group, and out and over there, and whoever else, that they'd like to talk to that person in that group, but they can't because they're having this thing and they're having this thing. So I'm like, well, one time they all have a big group gathering down here at Salt Fork. NADP, BFRO, SOSBI, all of it. And just have one big thing and everybody get together. And I'll bet $100, crisp $100 bill that there's going to be some big storytelling and some correlations going on. I'll bet. I'm willing to bet money on it. And but if people would just realize, hey man, this is a hobby. There's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow in this. You're not going to get rich. It's your research. This is what I do. And I take people out and I'm saying, hey people, hey, eyes open. Hey, look what's in your backyard out here in the National Forest. You either believe it, of my tracks, and the 5 years of investigation I did in the last 5 years in Hawken County, and some of the most dangerous places where people go missing, you betcha there's things out there that walk and crawl around at night and some big critters. Bet you that ain't for me to say, for you to believe. You just have to get out there on your own and get it.
And find it.
Yeah, because it's like playing the lottery. Because people forget, you're out there seeking a man beast of some kind. You might not get what you're asking, or you might not get what you're wanting. And then again, you might come across one that wants to communicate. And boy, the day would be nice for that. So like I said, but on the pouring class, this is what I tell teaching people. This is the best way that you're going to get a track out of that ground, best way to pour it. But when I'm done, you go home, you do your thing. Well, trial and error. You see this track. If you see the indentation, put your fingers down there over the foliage to see if you can feel the toes. Like I said, once you feel the toes and the heel, once you burn that, you should be able to see the mid-tarsal break after you burn it. Or the toe, or the foot bounce. You'll see the mid-tarsal break, and you'll see it's like 3D when you're looking at the ground here. After that, after you burn everything, it's just like, wow, I could walk clear over here, way over there, and see that footprint. But if you're looking at here and you don't see anything, but an outer ridge, an inner ridge, or a heel, and part of the big toe. That's most of it you'll see. One track, I couldn't pour it because it didn't have no hydrocal, but it would have been a decent pour. But the footprint was about that wide. It was nice big size. To comparison, I had steel toe boots on. I wear size 13. His big toe was about the same width as my toe on my boot. But in the picture, which I'll have Dave down the road put it up on public so they can see it, where it had stepped down. I mean, I could step on it, I could jump up and down, not make an indent, but where he had stepped, it was so heavy, he brought moisture up from the bottom of the ground and made it muddy. And not only that, but his second toe by the big one broke a rock in half. That's how heavy it was when he stepped down, broke it. And you can see right there, the second toe by the big one, you see the rock right there, the piece that broke off is smashed down in below. So quite some weight these critters got. It's like but I've, you can ask anybody, I've given away tracks, haven't I, Jack? Mm-hmm. I've poured tracks. If I poured every track I ran across, I wouldn't have no house to live in. I said, I really wouldn't. Where am I going to put this at? My wife be screaming at me, get this, I'm telling you, I'm tired of it. You know, Bigfoot up to here with us, you know, and, but, yeah, it's just, you can tell when people, the real people have seen it, man, they're just like an old hound dog broke off a chain. He's a 6-county dog now, he'll never come home. You know, when I saw one that, you know, at the age of 13 for the first time, I've been bitten by the bug ever since. I can't stop. And in that time, it has cost me a lot of things dearly. How far do you want to go in pursuit of this? Because this cost me my first marriage and cost me dear friendships. Believe it. And I've got plenty of witnesses for that, don't I, Dave?
Yeah.
You can bet. The way I think in this hobby, personally myself, you can call me whatever you want, but it's the most, some of it can be the most stab in the back story, stealing, thief, take this, take that. And this happened to me personally, hasn't it, Jack?
Yeah.
I guess they might be too lazy to go out there and get it on their own or too afraid to go out there in the National Forest alone to get it. So like I said, my stuff is real. If you want to come out to my class, I'm not charging a dime. Maybe some of these other big guys out there are charging big money to come and pour tracks or doing this or taking them out in the field. I'm not charging anything because it's a hobby. And I'm not wanting to get rich at this. Just I want to educate to the public what's in our neck of the woods down here. I don't, you know, what they do in West Virginia, Pennsylvania, I don't care. I'm never going to go there. So what's the difference? But hey, I'm glad that they're all out there. Some of the top researchers, oh, I've seen them, and they're good. And like I said, my hats are off to you. You know, just like Ken Gerhardt, Cliff Brackman, rest of them. Yeah, like I said, they're and me and Kane Michaels, the two top researchers in Hockin County, and we can prove it. We've got decades and decades of the wind conditions, all the reports, all the journal, everything we've written up. It's bar none. We've had some of the top people out there say, our guys ain't that thorough in investigation work. I mean, you got the wind conditions, the temperatures, everything. And so like I said, if you want to pursue this farther, you have to have documentation that covers that documentation that covers that document, just yada, 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 blah, 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 if you want to prove your point. And because they'll scrutinize or pasteurize and homogenize, execute the x-ray, everything you got, and call you a charlatan or a fake and this, that, and the other. But I'm teaching real deal out in the field. And just like my guys, if anybody goes out with us, listen to what they say. If you know, if you're asking questions, they have to be able to answer it to you. And I've got Dave Levering. He's a tracker, and I've got Larry here, my other partner in OCR. I'm teaching him on wood talk structures, and couldn't have picked the two finer guys to be out with me in the field. And like I said, this is it's a hobby, and I'm awfully awfully proud to have somebody that wants to spend their time and come and go out and learn to go find the Bigfoot and learn a lot of things too, if they'd like. So, but like I said, tracks is the most important thing, besides, you know, your evidence, you know, because you're looking at folklore and legends. You know, it ain't like you're going to go out and find a track. They're super rare, and when you do find them, I tell people, please stay there long enough to document it, or take something and cover it, and hurry up and come back to it, and, you know, get the measurements, take the picture. Don't, I tell people, you know, put your shoe size by it, but they really don't know how big it is still. That's why I always carry a little tape measure with you, but the number's big enough where people can read if they zoom it up and say, wow, that's a 17 inch, you know, or this, that, and that, and a width. They're not necessarily about the depth, but you have to do that on your own, on your records.
I probably got the world's record for not doing that
Oh, yeah. Well, Jack.
and taking pictures. And I'm proud of it.
Yeah. And so, do you want to pour?
Sure,
Okay, what do you want to pour? Your hand or your foot?
my hand.
Okay, I was going to say hand, foot, anything. Let me slide this up forward. And
Spread your fingers out a little bit.
yeah, just push it down in there, and then just curve your fingers down a little bit, and then lift your hand up real slow out of the sand.
When I went down and
Perfect.
Visit,
There you go.
visit him, he gave me a gift.
You can take that back to your car if you want to. That's another one. Because the footprints that you've got, that I've seen,
Yeah.
I'd be heavily going out there trying to pour one. I would be. I really would be. And
He don't use it. Rich,
yeah.
Jeff right here, the walking stick I gave you, Jeff's the one that made it.
You can just squeeze it up and down, and get it to where it's mixed. You can almost like mashed potatoes almost, in a way. So.
Now, how much mix is in there?
There's equivalent in there right there to pour anywhere from a 14 to 16 inch track.
Is that like a half and half mix? Like half together?
Kinda, yeah. It'd be like, for like 1 cup, it'd be like just a little bit more than a half a cup of water with it.
Feels like it's all.
Okay. Now I'll just take this, set this down, squeeze some air out of it, open it up.
So it's 1 cup powder to half a cup water? Is that the mix?
Yeah, put it in there. See, you can get it just like this, where it's watery, just like this, and then you can do it real easy. What I always do is fold this up so it don't pop open, because I don't know what's the matter with these bags. And I usually take this in, bring it around like that, where, you know, they got like a handle, and then I take this
Cut the corner off.
and just cut the little corner off. Just let the air out, and then you just pinch and hold that, and just grab that spot. And you don't have to squeeze the back, let it come out. Just open that barely a little bit, and just go along here, and just work your way toward the fork. Yeah, just like that. Let it pour right into let it go right into it. That way you're not, the thicker, if it's real thick, yeah, just pour it all the way out, clear out to here, all the way around. Just pour it all the way around. Get it thick, just pour it around. It'll just harden right up. Yeah, cover it thick on top.
So could this be a little bit thicker?
In most cases, I'm trying 2 different types here.
Okay.
For a thick to a wet pour. There you go. Is that a spot dry? Okay, yeah, it's just sand on top. Okay. Yeah, we're good. I'm gonna just take that, pinch that off, roll that under here, and set that there so it won't leak out. It ain't gonna go nowhere. Oh, there we go. And then as this is tacking, like what I call tacking, as it starts to hard up, you know where your handprint's at. So what I usually do when it gets really tacky, I'll go in and I'll just take a little stick and I'll draw this around right here like this,
Okay. Outline it.
and then I'll just push that away, and then come around here, and I'll just trim this out right here all the way around, move this out of the way, and you'll have a nice round pad. Yeah, and it's different pores because you got one that's wetter, and see what I was saying about wetness, see where it's going in, like here, not so much here, but you can see the water going into the sand. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
when it's really, really wet, and if you got, like I said, if it's in mud or something like that, like I said, it's going to set up really, really nice to get dermal ridges.
See, that
But
looks like it's, that thinner mix looks like it's setting up a little bit quicker than this, the thick mix.
See, now if you feel this, it should be a tacky.
Yeah.
It's almost tacky on it now. No, feel it now? It's like,
Yeah.
and yeah, like I said, it's really, really weird stuff, but good stuff to work with. What did I do with my lighter? Did my lighter lay over there somewhere?
Right here.
Okay. But like in this, I want to show people the difference between a thick and a wet. And also when you do when you go to wash the tracks off, okay? When you go to wash the tracks off, being it is Hydrocal, it's an art of sculpture, so you got to be careful how much you rub. If you got one that's stepped in mud or clear or clay that even shows dermal ridges, you don't want to wash that track when you pull it out. Except rinse it off if it's got muddy on it, just very lightly towards you start to see the nice white cap and stop. Because the more you rub, the more it'll come off. It's like chalk. It's like erasing chalk, almost. So you only want to spend just enough time. I tell people, if you're near a creek and you didn't bring a brush with you, go and get some deer moss and scoop that up and take it down to the creek, turn your track down, and just barely, just like a little scouring pad, just roll around. You're going to need quite a bit of the deer moss because it kind of breaks up, but it'll hold together enough where it's so soft where you're not going to erase anything on the track. And that's another thing you have to keep yourself reminded about. And because there's all these things that come into play when you go to pour. You're like, okay, I'm going to need this. I got to get that. I got to get this. I got to get that done. And, you're just like so many scenarios. And it depends on how fresh it is. You might have somebody watching you pour that track, and which is, which might could be the Bigfoot. It could be something else. You just don't know. I've been in areas where I poured, and I know they were there, and they was watching me pour their track. And like that alpha male, I poured that 24-inch track. When it did that ground burst at me, I tore that right out of the ground and started hauling to get out of there. But I broke the pinky toe off of that 24-inch track. But when I went back to get it, he had come and taken that. There was nobody else there. There was nobody else up there. Who's going to walk through the forest and pick up a piece of plaster on the ground and take it home with you? Nobody.
99 point.
He saw me. He was over there. He saw me pour that track, and after he saw me leave, he came over to see what I was doing, and he reached down and said, "Oh, that must have been important to him, so I'm going to take that. He ain't going to get that back, so whatever." I know he took it. So when you're pouring tracks and they're fresh, look around, because I always tell people there's eyes on you in the national forest. You just don't know whose eyes is looking at you. It could be a dog man, could be a Bigfoot, Janoska, or whatever they call that critter, the Bigfoot with fangs, or whatever he is. I don't know. I can't name it because I don't know what it is. So, you got anything to say, Dave? Larry?
Now I'm just waiting to see what that looks like when you pull it out of there.
Okay. Yep, it's just about ready.
You got one more sand you can get up?
Hmm?
Make one more for really quick?
Yep, we're gonna get her up there to pour too. Yep. So you can, and you can feel, if somebody come over, you can put your finger in here. Somebody put their finger in it, right here, right down, right there. You feel the heat? Feel warm?
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you feel that?
The heat,
Come over here and feel that.
the heat.
Put your fingers right down in there. You feel the heat? Feel the heat? Feel heat? Warm? Yeah. See what I mean? Now I'm going to pull this track out. little handprint out.
Wow.
Let's just take this. Wipe most of that off. Come over here. Stick it down in the water. Rub it a little bit. Not much. And voila. You have a, do you have a nice, perfect handprint? It'll show all the detail. It'll show everything else, but except it has sand. And the same thing. Pouring in clay, hard mud, something set up, it's tacky to where once it touches it and it lifts off and it leaves dermal ridges. You want a wetter mix to set up to do that. And this is a thick mix. This is the thick pour. And kind of a thick pour.
That looks pretty good.
Yeah, as you can see. I can pass this around if anybody wants to. Okay.
Thanks, Larry.
Now, while we got this one set up, I can go just like this. There you go. You can come over and put your handprint down. Curl your fingers down just a little bit, not too much, just a little bit. Now flatten it. There you go. And then your thumb, push it down. Okay, now lift your hand up real slow. Perfect. Even though you're looking at it, you're going, well, man, I have to turn different angles, the shade to look at it, you know what I mean? And that's the same way. Oh, let me forget, I almost forgot. You know. Here's for the people that got poured. Almost forgot. So you wipe your fingers, wipe your hands, and anybody got dirt and stuff on it, wipe them off. And well, yeah. It's quite unique, isn't it? How things work. And it's, but like I said, when you go to pour, you're going to do multiple mixes. Like I said, it just all depends on the condition. I only say that if people don't burn the track out. And there's all conditions. If you want to pour on top of leaves, fine with me, because I've seen where the people who do check the tracks out, they are there's no definition here, for one, and what's all this stuff stuck to it? How am I supposed to make a determination of what this track is when it's got sticks, leaves, fodder? I was like, well, yeah, it's a footprint, but you know, we can't get the measurement between the toes really accurate because it's packed with like 2 or 3 layers thickness of leaves or mud and whatever. And yeah, all works out the same. All works out. No, that's another bonus that I'm giving today for the ones who come and wants to pour. Even though they paid $5 for a donation, I'm also giving a bag of this size free today for the ones who showed up to take home. So if they run across the track, you're not just burning up your Hydrocal, you got one to take home. So that way, if you run across the track, say, I got some Hydrocal, and there you go.
And how much did you put to it?
Huh?
How much did you say? How much water?
You can put, for this here, you can put like, usually about a cup, 1 whole cup, or a cup and, anywhere from a cup and a half, about a cup and a half of water. usually for this size right here, and that's standard. That's just, you know, for the novice who wants to go pour over everything or whatever. But again, it's all your mix. You know, like you can take this home and you can separate it, just like a if it's a small print or this, that, and the other, you can cut it in half and you can make it a wet mix, even a wetter mix. It's still going to set up. It's just a wet mix, but you want to keep it a little thick too, this way.
So don't break.
Yeah, so you just, after it comes up a little bit or it starts getting tacky and it's still moist in the bag, still just group right over top of it. Just go right over top of that to reinforce it. But I tell people never, after it's gotten tacky, once you move it, it's not gonna hurt it. But don't, when you pour it, and you think, I need to get a stick and move it over there. I wouldn't do that. It depends on what you wanna rub off. Like say in between the lines here and you go to rubbing it, well, the V was down here and now it's up here. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I shouldn't have, well, you did. So you learn by mistakes. And but I'll take this one here, do the same thing as like the other one. And you can come over and you can mix it right in the bag. It'll be a squeeze away. As long as it don't pop the top, so I can squeeze some of the air out of it. Like this a little bit. There we go. Now you got room to squeeze it. Yeah, just mold it around just like you make a mashed potatoes. And now what we're doing is we've done a thick, we're doing a thin, and this one here is going to be like in between the thickness and the thin pour. But they're all going to be hard and durable, just like the thick pour when they're all done, when they cure. Because the complete cure of this here is basically they look at 24 hours, just overnight. And then, if you want to drill through it and hang it up on the wall and stuff like that. Did you get it mixed?
I think so.
Okay. Yep, that's a good mix. And we'll take this and fold this, get it around so I can get some air out of it. Fold that, turn it, take up where the corner is. Just pinch it. And just like that. You can grab a hold of right there on the top. And then, like I said, you don't have to squeeze the bag.
Right.
All you got to do, you control how much flow comes out of here.
Start at
And
the
then
bottom and go up.
Yeah, you just start pouring right in here. And once it fills up, and just pour toward the fingers. And then once you get the fingers in, and then pour clear out to here all the way around it. There you go. And just fill up this area right from here all the way around. All the way around it. And fill the whole top up. And like I said, you control the amount of what's coming out instead of opening it and just dumping it in.
Right.
Yeah. You got plenty right there, and just fill right up here in the top in the center. When you get, well, I said if you want something even finer, even though it's got sand on it, you can always take a rag and brush it. Brush it, and you're going to get a lot out still. You're still going to get a lot of just by brushing it. You think it's all off because I washed it and everything, and you're still going to get the more you rub on it, you can take it down almost to where she's white and get the best print. But like I said, it's you can still flake stuff off of it, but it's still going to keep the perfect of your handprint. It won't show the dermal ridges, but it'll show, you can get the exact, what I mean is when you pour like that, exact measurements, how width the thumb, palm, or foot, or whatever toes you want to get. And like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm not paid to be an expert. I'm just teaching a class on how to pour the best way I know, if people that's highly interested in this field, teach them something, and hope that when they run across it in the field, they're like, I don't know what to do here, you know. And when you start to see people, when you see somebody pour something like this, even over this right here, when they step on it, you know, and there's a nice big foot track there, but it's got leaf fodder, and you'll see people over there mixing it up, and they're going to pour it right over that, and you're going to go. You want to go over and say, hey, don't pour that yet. I got a torch here. Let me torch that, and once you torch that, and then when they say, man, I was going to pour all over that, it's like, yeah, that just saved you. Now you're going to get the best prints you can get. It ain't got nothing in it, just dirt and the track. That's it. And then when you wash that out from being dirt, it'll be way brighter than this here. For instance, like well, I got one here. Let's see here. I'll get this out of the way. This out of the way and that out of the way. Now if I can get that up. Come on now, Wrigley. Okay. You know, for instance, like this big dogman track. You can see how big his track is. There's his pad. There's how big his upper pads are. And there, and there, and there's how long his claws is. And this was a thin pour, see? And I could still clean this up. But again, like I said, it was thin when I poured it. And I thought, man, I gotta reinforce that before it gets broke. So, like I said before, just like this here. Now, here's something else that you can use. You see this? That's only a seam because I kept it in there, just it hardened that way. But if I wanted not to have that in there, in aluminum foil, I wouldn't. But as you can see how the Hydrocal, I took just a aluminum foil, non-sticky side up, and you can see how intricate it is for non-stick. You see that? How the lines are perfect in there, just aluminum foil. See how it is? Picks up the finest little line. But the track was so thin, like I said, when I poured it, I set it down into a ring I made of aluminum foil, and I just curled it up all the way around the track, and I had an opening over here, and I mixed up the Hydrocal and poured it under the track until it floated up to the ring, and now I got a nice thick base. Now it ain't gonna break. And that works just really great. Like I said, it's a perfect track. And this track, it was good enough for me. I haven't even washed this track off. As you can see, look, I haven't even burned it really. It's still got the, this is what I was talking about. You see these little tiny roots? Millions of them. And at the time, didn't have a torch. And it took me probably about 20 minutes to cut this out of the ground. Because it was just like this. And you can see all the, so I was telling you about all these fine, see all these fine roots?
Yeah.
See them? Hard as a rock. You get hundreds of them stuck on there, you're not gonna get that track out. You'll be sitting there trying to get a long blade in there and hope you don't mess it up because the track is here. And you're trying to cut it, trying to get it away from it. And it's like, oh, what a pain it is. But like I said, if I had the torch, it'd have been a lot easier. I just burned it all out and poured it. It'd have been a really beautiful track. But it's a nice track as it is.
Turtle?
No, it has, the only thing it's missing is the human foot that went with it. Jody Cook's got the full one. He's got one with the full foot. Me, on the other hand, I guess I ain't as professional as I thought I was, huh? Because it stepped on a rock, and I can pour everything, but I can't pour on a rock. That's you can't, and that's all the detail you're going to get. And but this thing has big long claws with a human foot. So what is this critter?
So how long was the foot, actual foot?
It's about right to here. About that long.
Would it be a dog man?
And narrow like that?
Yeah, narrow just like that. All the way down to the heel. I don't know what it is. But Jody Cook's got the whole one, which I could have had the whole one in my collection. But this one here, like I said, quite unique. And like I tell people, there's things out there. I don't know what they are. I probably don't want to know what they are. I'm just here to document it. You know, let's just put it. There's another one on the resume. Seen that or poured that, but don't know what it is. But like I said, there's just so many ways and so many things out there in critters. Different applications, different critters, different pores. Let's see. I don't know if I got. What's this one down here? I got. Oh, and this one here. Like this one. This is another thin pore. This one is over on like had a partial little sand in it, but also it was clay. And on this one, I caught just a hair of dermal ridges that ride along here. You can see the dermal ridges, and under the LiDAR you can really see it, but 4 claws, human foot. That's not a double step bear. What's that critter? Just like I tell people, please tell me what this is, because I don't know what it is. I was in the area where it was at and poured it, and it was fresh. It's quite something. And then I tell people, when you shade things too, when you look at them like this, turn it and shade it and look at the different color. When you see it, you can see the details in it. You can turn it and shade it in different ways. That's the way I do when I'm out in the forest. I'm always looking, I'm always bending, I'm shading, looking, because if you don't, when you look up this track when you walk, you might not see tracks going up there. But if you walk over this way and kind of turn, shade, well, something just went right through there. But if you go back over here, you don't see it. It's just like a mirage almost. So that's why I tell people, always look, shade, bend. You know, it's like a really weird out there. I hope people don't see me doing that, but it's like, man, he's looking to take a squat somewhere. So, but yeah, and I always tell people too, when you're out looking for Bigfoot, if you're going to go out and look for him, don't be out there looking like this.
If he's dead,
Yeah, because act like you're foraging, like he's out there. He knows what you're doing. You're not stupid. And I tell people, act like you're foraging. Or if you find some chanterelles or chicken of the sea or whatever, mushrooms, pick some up, have it in your hand like, you know, and he's like, oh, okay, they're foraging. They're not really looking for me, you know. Because if you live out in the forest, I mean, literally live in the forest, and you see a group of people out there with cameras, this, that, and the other, oh, you know who they're after, you know what they're looking for. Wouldn't you think? That's just common sense. So that's why, you know, I do not do certain things out there in the field. I don't inquisite people to tree knock, because that's a language. If you hear it, it's a specific pitch and tone. That's communication. When somebody comes, oh, hey, it's a boom, 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 and they're like, oh, we'll see if we can get him now. Well, they hear a roar on the ground, a rock throws, there's an 18 squealer. Watch him fly and scream running out of the forest. Well, why are you running that way? You want his attention. He's that way. So I just don't get it. You're seeking him so much. You want him so much. You want to see. Well, you just went and pissed him off because, you know, you're in there, you know, banging on trees and whoa, whooping. Well, you don't know what language you're putting out there. It's specific tones and pitches to these critters. It's just like rock clacking. Specific tones, specific pitches for different meanings. And, but y'all don't have to believe me. I've only been doing this 53 years. That don't make me an expert. That don't make me a professional. I'm just a teacher. I want to be a teacher, that's it. And I'm not looking for fame and glory. Never have, never will. And it was my brother Rusty that got me started in this when I was 10 years old. He said, you got to come out here and listen to this. I'm like, what? And we sat out there on that trestle, climbed that bridge, down on that big sandstone pillar. And all we heard at the time was a bunch of crashing through the trees and a big gigantic splash. And for the longest time, and he told me, he said, down the road, he said, man, you got to come and see this place. And we rode our bicycles from Bremen out to this place called the Pit in Logan all the time. That's a long trek on a bicycle. And but we kept going out there, and then one day he wasn't with me, and I got to see one down there at the age of 13. And I was hooked ever since. And Rusty, he was kind of, well, you could tell how my partner was. He was 5 years older than me, and it's too bad that he's passed away now, because he'd have sure loved to have been what I'm doing now, and we'd have been doing it together. And still, ain't in it for fame or glory or anything. Ain't into it for money. Like I said, I've given away tracks, I've given away this, given away that, just to, get people that's interested into knowing what's in their backyard. Because people don't look, like say they move out in the country. Well, if you bought a house out there, you didn't go into town and look up the register under microfiche of the history of that area, or if you look up a lot of them, it'll say reports. It'll be front page paper too. It'll say wild man of the woods, or scary creature, hairy man, right there on the front page in your county. Just read. Back in 1800s under microfiche. You ain't gonna find it on a computer. You're only gonna find it on microfiche. And because they don't post them stories out like that. So you'll find it in microfiche, and you'll see all kinds of stories back there. Just keep going back, and you're like, wow, why didn't I hear about that? Or why didn't he say about this or that? It's amazing. But that's one thing I guess the government ain't caught up with is the microfiche yet. But when they will, they'll erase it. They will. See, it's almost like gold panning.
Yeah.
Look at that. And I rub it more. The more indentation you put in the sand, or whatever you're doing, I've duplicated another track by doing that, but you lose a lot of detail. But he just wanted a replica of it, so. See, it's just running right off. The sand's just running like up here where it's dark. I just run my fingers around it. It's still flicking it right off. And it's taking it off really nice. And perfect.
We're getting into the sun a little bit. There's too much shadow on it.
See, shaded.
Oh, it's great.
And turn this way.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome, isn't it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I know it's worse every time. Now, if you go back and let that harden like overnight, and go back and with a
Like a cloth?
like a fiber cloth or something, and just have it in cold water, not warm water, just cold water, and just rub it. I mean, all the sanding will come out, but you're going to get a lot more whiter than this. You see where I'm just rubbing it, and I'll have a handful of sand on it. You just and just like dump it out. But yeah, it'll come out a lot bolder. And I've told people a lot to, once it hardens all the way up, 24 hours, you take a Dremel, if you know it's got a Dremel, and cut it. You cut it to fit in a. I've had people put them in frames. They don't, their kids' frames.
Put them on a little easel?
Yeah, I had some people, like the mom or dad, mom, junior, baby's handprints. They wanted to put the, poured, and I'm like, I'm surprised they didn't want their foot, being in the castings, but they did the hand. And but see, there's another thing I was telling people too. Like the Bigfoot, That's like your human hand and like a human foot. See how my fingers, if you look at it like this, all the way around, evenly placed, pressure straight down. Now, just like a Bigfoot, when you look at this, you see the difference? One's up, one's down, one's up, one's down. Heights, different heights. That's like their toes. Different heights and different things. And I've had people go up there and they wanted to push that toe a little deeper so they can make it match like the other one. I was like, don't do that. I said, because it could be a deformity. It could be a, you know, and like like some of the Bigfoot, just fill up in the heel and let it, like a river, just let it just walk it forward to the front where the toes are. And real easy. There you go, Davey. It's just like pouring. Just fill up the heel all the way up. A little faster, Davey. Let her open. No, stay back, Dave. Stay back.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Stay back. Right in there. Just keep filling it up and let the hydrocal run right into them.
Into the toes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You let it run into the toes. Don't. If you try to cross and go over the top ridge in between here, you just ran over it and it'll look like, well, the V's up here, but now it's down to here.
Okay.
You just erased part of the track when you do that.
All right, so
Now keep going. Fill her up.
in the center or where?
Yeah, just go from the front toes, clear back. Keep going.
Just keep running. Up
Yep, just keep going. Yep, keep going. Fill it all the way up. See where it's capping?
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. There to the left a little bit. Come over toward me. Right there. Fill that gap up. Go straight down now. Right there. Yep, go right there. Perfect, Davey. And just fill it up. See where it's capping?
Yeah.
Go to the back end of the very heel. Right there. Yeah. Okay. Now. Okay.
Oh yeah. The wind ain't helping you. It's flinging his wind around.
It's brutal all day.
All right, any more? Shake.
That's good. Just pour it thicker right down there where the heel is. Right to the right a little bit. Up. To the right.
Right up.
Right up in there. Okay. Good. You're good, Davey.
All the way from it. Dig a little touch. Be around. Dig all the way from it. Right up to it.
Thing up. Clear up to the rim, Dave. Put it in there. Yeah, like out. Don't let it go over. Go to the heel. Fill that up there to the brim. Okay. Up this way, on the left-hand side of toward me, at the heel, right in there. Back toward the other way, right toward me, to the right, right in that divot, right there, right in there. Squirt some in there. There you go.
There's a hard glob that just.
Well, yeah, almost got them all out there. All right, Dave, that's good. Now, we'll let that set up.